All right, so good afternoon, traders. I'm just going to focus on the market. We are going to do all the currencies on the market. So before we started, I just want to show you something according to our course. For those that they are interested, maybe to joining us for the next sessions. So for the next sessions, we are going to have our online course is going to be on one, and by the end of this month, we are going to have an online course. So it doesn't matter if you wanna joining us even before end of this month, which is fine, because of why if you once you are joining us, you can only get the full strategy, which is let me just show you here. I just want to show you something here. Our course contents and why is it important to focus market by using our strategy, and the reason why I trusting it have been because of I have been used to study as many strategies like for example Nasdaq strategies and the support and resistance, supply and demands, and then even robots, and then even indicators. But guess what, it did not work for me because of why I was thought maybe something that is working, but it's actually it's part of gambling. That's how the reason why I living it. The reason why I'm calling it is part of the gambling because of why you always have a lot of losses, and when you lose, actually, for example, if you are applying it supply and demands or support and resistance or head and shoulders, you are not going to be able to identify the reason why you lose the trade. So that's why it was critical for me and to continue by using one of those strategies. All right, so I just want to show you something that is always amazing by focusing market by using Elliott, and I need you guys for the next week. You are going to it's going to happen exactly the way that I'm going to focus now. All right, so let me just show you something here. Let me just go to general. There's something that is on the general that I need you to show you guys. I need to share with you. It's one of the very important things. I think this was a daily webinars. I was just saying, guys, we are expecting a lot of money on the next week for the yen pairs. So of course, yes, we are expecting a lot of money, and I'm going to show you by next week when we do the Sunday webinar. I'm going to show you the reason why we are expecting it a lot of money on this yen pairs. Right, so let me just go through to the all right. So here, this is our PDF. It's just this is our course contents. I just want to show you about our course contents. All right, you can even check there is my mobile number and even my email address. And this is always Elliott principle, the principles of the Elliott waves. So the reason the principles of the Elliott wave, I will show you the principle of the Elliott waves. Like as I said last week, I was showing you guys like we are not just use Elliott wave theory by taking our trades and our trades by focusing on the market. We are not just using Elliott wave theory. We always use the principle. That's why we're calling it the principles of the Elliott waves. We meaning to say all of things you should have to apply after you apply. First thing, you should have to apply Elliott wave before you apply everything. All right, so you can even see here on our day one, we have got the introduction on the Forex. What is Forex? Market participant, market sessions, and then risk management rules, risk reward. All right, so the most important things, what most of the traders they are not applying is this, where I mark with the blue here. Most of the traders they don't know how to apply the risk management, of which this is the first key of the Forex market. Before even we comes to what is Forex, whatever, with the first key on my side, what I prefer for everyone to understand is this risk management. When you understand the risk management, that's how you can always maximize your profits, because of you know how you can risk. So it does not mean maybe sometimes when you come with the account of $50, we just thinking maybe I'm going to buy maybe Golf GTI in just a month. That's impossible, right? So but I'm not just here for that. I'm just here for to apply this. Okay, let me just take this one out. We go back again. Right, so this is how we learned. This is how you are going to learn about. So to learn our strategy, it's not that much expensive. It's only $150 if you're out of South Africa. If you're in South Africa, it's 2,000 rand for the whole year. And then after you pay with us, I will send you the full videos of this, of everything that is explained. I'm going to send you the videos that explain everything in details about this. And then after I explain it to you, we also even continue for the 2 weeks online courses. After 2 weeks online courses, we also continue for the 1 year, which is we're going to do the daily webinars like Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, up to Thursdays. For the daily webinars, they are just there to focus for the current levels, or for the current price where it is until we take the good trades. So it's going to be much easier for you because of why I'm going to do with you guys online. All right. So this is our day 2, and this is our day 3, and this is our day 4, and this is our day 4, and this is our day 5, as we are applying the blue box magic. This is most of very important things to use. This is one of the first entries when we are focusing on the market, real market analysis. Right, so the blue box magic, there's a way that it works, and it always makes it amazing, and you should have to apply the way that it's supposed to be applied. So before you even apply the blue box magic, I think this strategy is for someone who can who can be able to identify the structures and understanding what kind of the structure that we have on the forex market. So before you apply this blue box magic, you should have to be able to understand one of the correlations, which is this zigzag, regular flat, expanding flat, running flat, triangles, and the combinations of the correlation. The combinations of we have got double threes and a triple threes. A triple threes, which is a 11 swing sequence, and a double threes, which is a 7 sequence. Right. So let's just go through to the day 6 here. This is the practical application day, and trading, and how to trading WXY and WXYXZ like a pro, WXY or WXY Fibonacci cycles levels. Right, so when you are doing these Fibonacci circles, that's how you apply a blue box magic. You just need to apply blue box magic because of why. Like if I can tell you something, that to say every single move that it happens on the forex market is not it does not just happen in the forex market. It does not move randomly. Every single move is measured. I will show you the reason why I'm saying every single is measured by using this strategy and by using the Fibonacci, by applying the Fibonacci and apply the blue box magic. Right, so let's go through to the let's just go. This is also on the day 7. We are still repeat the practical application and how to label a naked chart. So we can show you how to label a naked chart because of why the sorry, let me just take my annotation too here. To label A, B, C, W, X, Y, X, Z is a last thing. What we should have to be identified. That's why we include this one. The first thing that you should have to know, you should have to take the naked chart. Let me just try to mark with the red card, red pen. The first thing that you should have to apply is, and you should have to be able to apply. We need a naked chart. After we have a naked chart, that's how we can shoot. The first thing, we identify the structure the way that it is, and even before labeling is just actually a last thing to do. So after you have a naked chart and started to do the analysis from top down, so that's what we do. We can analyze our charts at least even from the from 1953 until where we are now. Right. So let me just take this one out, and we are going to have on the day 8 it also still an day 9 a practical application day, market correlation seminar, and we have got the practical application. When we also so you can even see the practical application is, there are so many because of why. Starting from the day 4, we should have to do, after we focus everything, we should have to do the practical application from 1953. After day 4, 6 still applying application day because of why we should have to still to apply application. sorry, a practical application, because of why it's one of the most very important things to understand. You should have to be able to identify the structures in cycles and degrees. That's why we repeat to do the practical application, like from day 5 up to day 10. Right, so after this, that's how we continue for the 2 weeks online courses. After 2 weeks, we also continue for the year doing the daily webinars like every single day. Right, so let's just go to the real charts, guys. I just want to go to the real charts. We're going to analyze all the pairs on the real charts. So I'm going to start it with the Bitcoin. On the Bitcoin, right, so let's just start it with the Bitcoin. All right, here we go. So the structure on the Bitcoin, like let me just try to clear everything here. Okay, so let me just go back to 2 hours. I'm going to focus all the pairs, I think, on the 2 hours, because it's going to be much easier. All right, let me just take my annotation too, and let's get started, guys. All right, so the first thing, like on the Bitcoin, we have this one. Let me just take the green one. We have got this one, 1 2 3, and it also pushes like this, 1 2 3, and it comes back with the another 1 2 3. So it also went back with the 1 2 3. On the IC market data, it shows us it's almost here, and we are almost here. So from these current levels, I'm expecting this Bitcoin to correct and push all down to the blue box magic before we resume to the upside. So that's how we can focus. So, and then meaning to say this is going to be A and a B and a C. After this move, we should have to come down as well, but don't worry, we are going to do it like next week when we do the our analysis. So like the most important things, like when it comes to the Elliott wave and then how to take the trades, there's a bit challenges by taking the trades, because of why there's always two possibilities that when you take a trade, you should have to take the trade that it confirms. So by on our side, we use the blue box magic, and we also have a divergence. So I will show you by the end of the session. All right, so let's just go back to the let's go to silver. Let's go to the silver. On the silver, there's two alternatives here, like that I see. We have got this impulse where this was 1, and this was 2, and this was 3, and the 4 was here, and we have got 5 here. So we have got an impulse here like this, and then it started to push with a move 1 2 3 back, and it started to come with another 3 back, and then let me just do, and it started to do this here. Sorry, let me just try to do it in a different color. So the first thing that I say, we have got this here, and we also have something like this here, and we also had this. So let me just go back to the, so there's two alternatives on the metals. It also does this. So what I'm expecting so far for the current levels, it can be like, yes, of course, it is something like this here, and it does this here and does this, come back like this before it. All right, meaning to say, and after this, I'm expecting it also to have something like this before we push higher. So it doesn't matter what you should have to be able. I remember to trade the correction. The most important things, you always need to be able to identify the structure, and until you can trade, you can get the impulse. So meaning to say this one can be in a complex correction, meaning to say we're going to have a W, again a X and a Y and an X, and we're going to have an X, sorry, we're going to have an Z, which is an A, B and a C. So before even we focus this one, there's a two alternatives that it can happen here. Yes, of course this is an alternatives, so I'm not going to rush on these metals because of why there's a it shows me it comes back like this one, and it can be this one, it does this, and it can also does this and come all the way here, all the way to the downside before it pushes, which is fine. It's just going to be it only, meaning to say it's going to be give us a W, X, Y, which is fine, and A and a B and a C, which is fine. So we always need to be identify if it divergence confirms, or we can use the blue box magic, which is fine, no problem. We should have to take the trade according to the structure, which is fine. So on the silver, sorry, on the gold, yeah, so you can even see on the gold that what I project here, I'm also even expecting the complex B correction. So guess what, it can even does this, and you're not going to even get we're not even going to get even 10 pips. You're not even going to get it, and it can come down like this with this even 1,000 pips, and it can even come back with 1,000 pips. But all of this on this cycle, we are not even going to get anything. So what I'm expecting on the gold, yes, it's still fine. I'm expecting it to push higher like this and come back like this, and it to be this. So after this, meaning to say this cycle is going to be ended here. So but also there's a two alternatives on these metals. Since we're expecting a silver, I'm just going to show you now. Yes, of course this one can does this here, and it does this here, and it go all the way to the upside after it goes down here. So it's what I should have to wait for me on my side. The reason why I should have to be patient on this one, because of why I don't like to trade corrections, because of why there's so many alternatives and there's so many ways that it can be adjusted. So I should have to be able to be wait. It's either it's going to push like this, which is fine. The reason why, meaning to say we're going to have a W, X, Y like this, which is acceptable according to the Elliott wave theory, and then it's or either it can even does this here and come all the way. So the move that is going to, if it goes down here, I'm not going to be interested for this move, and if it goes up, like, I'm going to be interested on this move. What I can be interested is either for the move that is going to be up or for the move that is going to be down. This is how, because of why after it, if it moves to the upside, meaning to say the structure is going to be clear. So far the structure is not to be clear. Is there's two alternatives, so that those two alternatives is one of it is going to push higher, or the one of it is going to push down. But after these two alternatives is it should be confirming. So on our side, if you want to trading it, one of the members, yes, of course, if you want to trading it, if you want it to confirm it, that's how you can even risk by using 1%, because of why there's a big challenge by trading the corrections. I always like to trade the impulse, because of once I identify the structure, okay, the corrections ended, I can be able to take a very good trade to the right direction. Right, so that's all on the gold. On the gold, you should have to tracking it like the way that I focus here, and then after this is either it can give us a complex correction, or it can give us a double correction, which is fine. So let's go to the indices. Let me start with the NAS 100. On the NAS 100, I focusing it last week. I'm just really happy about this pair, because of why I make a lot of money on this pair. I just want to show you how we focus and how we take our trades. As long as it confirms, we always take our trades by confidence. And this is our channel that we post every single pair, and we can every single pair here, starting from Oscar, everything single pair here, it's updated. So this is we're calling this one as our focus. It's not our trades. We're calling this is a focus, and then once the divergence confirms, or once we should have to, or if you want to take trades by using the blue box magic, one of those tools, we can take it like that way. But first thing, we should have to focus the right direction. And you can even, if I can open all this page, you can even see all this page. I think it's 100% of this page. You can only see it's only maybe 10% of it that I did not play exactly the way that I have been focusing, but 90% of it is actually it's just only focus. So when it comes to the trade setups, we always should have to be, or say, to 95% or 98%. It should have to confirm. At least if it does not confirm, maybe it's going to be 5% or it's going to be 2%. That's how it works. And that's how Elliott Waves works. Right, so let's just go back to I just want to show you something here on the Nasdaq 100. Right, this is Nasdaq. On the Nasdaq 100, we have got a very nice structure. I think it was last week. So I started focusing, like as you are seeing, when it was here and it comes back like this. So when it does this, it was clear structure on our side because of why. Once you are understanding how to trade WXY, XZ like a pro, you are not going to be challenging by this. Right, so on the Nasdaq, let me just take my annotation too. I just want to show you something here. So for the next week, it seems the structure, it should be adjustable. So I should have to go to the real chart and adjust, and then that's how we should have to do by on your side because of why. Yes, of course we can come and focus on this one, but guess what, by tomorrow morning it can be a very bit and maybe it can be pushed, like not the way that we've been focused exactly, and it's going to be challenging. But as long as you understand how to adjust, you always be on the safe side. Right, so let me just take my annotation tool here. So like what I see out of what I was seeing here, I was seeing this was 1 here, and this was 2 here, and the 3 was here, and there was 4 here, 4 and 5 here. So the next thing that I was expecting, there was a 3-wave move that was pushing like this, and then there was another one like this one, and there was other one like this one. So I started to focus, okay, to say, okay, this is, if this is a W, and where maybe I'm going to have a double on this correction, okay, which is fine. So I was expecting this one to go all the way to the downside. So we are almost here, but it seems the structure, it should have to be adjustable a bit. It's not going to be a WXY like what I did. But what I like on this strategy, as long as you understand the cycles and the degrees, you never miss. What you should have to do, you always need to put a break even. So I'll show you what I'm going to do on the Nasdaq, on the Nas 100, because of I am already taking the trade here, and we're almost here. So for those that they are using JP markets or FXP or FXCM or and FX Primas, they are almost over. I think it's almost, I don't know, maybe 2,500, because of why Nas 100 is one of the currencies that it moves much when it comes to those brokers. So anyway, that's fine. It's fine. I take a trade here. What I should have to do for the next week, I will show you what I should have to do on the break even. So let's just go back to the real chart. On the real chart on the Nas 100, the structure, it should be adjust a bit. Okay, so this is my new analysis on the Nas 100, but I'm not yet exit. I'm still in on the Nas 100. Because of why, there's a 2 alternative also that I'm expecting here, and it is a rule of Elliott Wave. It says when you analyze, you should have to look for the 1 alternatives or 3 alternatives, and then 1 it should have to confirm. So what we mean about saying 1 should have to confirm, meaning to say you can only confirm 1 by using divergence, or 1 should have to confirm by using the Fibonacci retracement, which is going to take it by either on the blue box magic or 0.01618. All right, so everything what I'm explaining, what I'm talking about, the blue box magic, I think is here, and the 0.161 is here. Right, so let's adjust our chart here. This is Nas 100. So on the Nas 100, yes, of course, you can see this is 1 2 3 4 5 here. So what I see so far on the Nas 100, let me just try to take this one out and try to squeezing it a bit. I've been tracking, I think, I don't know, maybe for the past 6 months back, I was making money by using Nasdaq 100, and what we do on the one pair, we can also apply on the every single pair. That's the reason why I like Elliott, because of why it's not something that you can just say and come and say you need a Nasdaq strategy to focus. Now, no, on our side we just use one strategy to focus all the pairs that they are in the forex market, whether it's commodities, cryptocurrencies, FX pairs, which is fine. We just use one strategy. Right, so let's go through to the let me just show you. Let me take my annotation tool. Let me just show you what we're expecting for the next week. What I'm seeing so far, the structure is a bit changing on the Nasdaq. This is 1 2 3 like this. Let me just take the blue color so that I can show you that something that is clear here. This is 1 2 3. I just want to show you something here. Let me just go back to the blue color so that the green gun, it can push like this. I'm expecting this one to do this and to come to the blue box magic, and it pushes like this and also come back like this. So far my analysis is it's supposed to be ended here, because of why we should have to come in we should have to be come in and identify the structure for the next time. So this is going to be a B and a C. So on the medium, I'm expecting this one to be a W, and this is what a X, and this is going to be our Y. Just is like this. Right, so the reason why I'm expecting this one, let me just show you something here. Let me just clear everything here. Alright, so let me I just want to go back to the lower time frame. So next week, guys, it's also much clearer for this one, because of what I should have to do. So far we are almost on the downside. Let me just take my annotation tool here. Let me just try to go back to the 30 minutes. I don't trade 30 minutes and 15 minutes, but I am just, because of why I'm trying to identify the structure, what we have so far. So since so there's a two alternatives on this NAS 100. Oh, sorry guys, take this one out. Take my annotation too. Yes, there's it. Of course, it can come and does this here and does this here. So let me just try to go back to the 15 minutes. I just want to show you. I just want to see something here. If we have a 5-wave move, is it showing us to go to all the way to the upside or what? Let me just clear everything. So it's not that much convincing me it's going to go all the way to the upside, but there's a possibility that it can does this, it can come this and start to correct here and push all the way to at least to this point before we come down, which is fine. If it plays like this one, I'm going to involve myself for the move that is going to be unless if divergence confirms. That's why it's very important by using divergence, right? So if confirms this one, we should have to take this one all the way to the upside again before we come to the downside. So anyway, which is fine, guys. Let's just go back to the 2 hours, because of why it can reverse where we are now. The reason why I'm saying that, as you can even see here, there's a 3 points here. I need to show you here. Sorry guys, because on our side we are not using supply and demands or support and resistance or head and shoulders. We work with the structures and we work with the Fibonacci, because of we always believe, and that's what exactly happened, because I believe if market, it does not move randomly, and every single move that it happens on the market is actually measured. So let me just show you something here. Let me just clear everything here. Let me just clear everything here. Right, so on this pair, right, of course, yes, of course, we have got the first point that we have is here, and the second one is here, and the third one is here, the fourth one, this is the maximum one. So I'm expecting this one to come on the blue box magic before we resuming higher, but there's a possibility, because of why you can even see here we are on the 0,0, we are on the 0,618, which is fine. Yes, there's a possibility that it can also reverse like this, but most of the time, 90% of the market, it's always reversed on the blue box magic. That's why to reverse on this point 0,1618, of course it's possible, and also to reverse the maximum point is 1,618, which is the maximum point. So but most of the time, 90%, it happens 5%, and it also happened 5% when market reverse on the 0.618 and also reverses on the this point. So we can even see this is not a supply and demand, this is actually a reversal sorry, this is actually a structural levels. That's how we can work with this, okay, which is fine. So let me just try to run faster so that we can catch up all the pairs. Let me just go back to the pound pairs. Let's start it with the pound pairs. Let's start it with the pound NZD. On the pound pairs, the structure of the pound pairs, they're not that much clear for the next week, but which is fine. What we should have to be patient for. Okay, let's just give it a time bit. Alright, so on the pound pairs, we have got something like this one. So this pound pairs, pound NZD, it can even go all the way to the upside. The reason why I'm expecting this one, because of we have got something like this was 1, 2, 3, and 4, meaning to say this was just like this one, and it should have to come like this one. So we need to say we can sorry, we are. So on the pound pairs, we have got 1 here, and it seems we have 3 here, and we've got go to 5 here, and it can go all the way to the upside. That's how we can focus on the pound pair. So let's just go back to pound CAD. On the pound CAD, let me just clear everything there. On the pound CAD, of course, yes, I see what I see here. We have got a 5-wave move like this, and it started to push like this one to come all the way here, and it does this. So what most very important things, let me just leave all the previous one. Sorry, I see we have got 1, 2, 3 here, and another 1, 2, 3 here, and this is another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to this point. And there's a possibility that this one, it can still come to the downside here, and before it resume to the upside, which is fine like that way. So sorry guys, I've got flu. All right, so this is how we can focus, meaning to say this is going to be a sorry, not actually ABC, it's going to be WXY, W and X here and a Y here. So what you should have to tracking it, if it comes like this one, it can come all the way to this one, meaning to say it can just be, let me just show you something there. Right, so it can does this here, does this here, does this here, does this here, before it comes down to the downside like this one, before it pushes like higher, which is fine like this one. It can be a WXY in a, it can does this here, play like this. So because of maybe if it's going to be a correction, it's going to be critical to trading it, and it can push like this, and it can even come down like this one before we resume it to the higher. So as long as you have a strategy and a strategy to take the trades, once it confirms, we need to say we are going to have a WXY on the middle, and we're going to have a and a B and a C, and what's going to happen, we are going to have an A and a B and a C as well. After this, we are expecting WXY, which is fine like that way. But this one we should have, so the most important thing, we should have to be able tracking where we are now, because of the pound pairs, they are almost all of the pound pairs, they almost have to reverse to the they almost need to reverse to the upside, which is fine. So let's go through to the, let's just go back to the pound chief. Pound chief, it seems it's not that much similar with some other pound pairs, but it's actually also amazing because of we've got 5-wave move here. We've got 5-wave move here, and then it started to pull like, sorry, we decided to pull like this. So I just want to use the different color. I decided to pull like this way, and does this, and if it does this here again, so it can be a possibility. Of course, this one can go all the way, but if we can only take this trade, we can only take this trade if the divergence confirming, because of why this is one of the trade that we should have to using divergence, because of why there's also a possibility. So when you trade this one, if you take it like here, we should have to put a break even when it comes to this point, because there's also a possibility of to coming to the downside here before it pushes higher, meaning to say this one is going to be a B, C. So it's much easier if you can focus by on your side, if you can understand how to adjust by on your side. So let's just go back, let's go through to the pound US dollar. Pound US dollar, it's pound US dollar. It also showing the same. I was expecting it at least to push higher here, but it did not go all the way that I was expecting to be. And a Y5, I was expecting a Y5 here, but which is fine because of we take our trade here. So if you trade like a pro, as I was seeing, I put my break even here, but it's actually come and take my profit here and started to go all the way to the downside, which is fine. So for the current level on the pound pace, it can, of course, it can does this here, and it can come and started to do this, which is fine, and also even go all the way to the downside, since we are focused on the pound pace at least to be. So on the pound pace, there's nothing much to do on the pound pace, because of why we are on the correction. What we should have to do, we should have to be able to identify the correction that is going to be coming for the current levels. As long as our is a that's going to give us a triple or a doubles or a regular flat, which is fine, but what we should have to be able to be identify is one of the correction that we are going to have for the current levels, right? So let's pound Aus, same story. We are on the correction as well. We're expecting, we should have to be able to identify the structure that we are going to get on the pound Aus. So there's nothing much to do on the pound Aus. We should have to give it time, because the structure on the pound Aus, actually pound Aus, is not that much clear like any other of the rest of the pound pace. So let's go through to the pound JPY. Pound JPY for the next week in a yen's pace, it's also not that much clear, but because of all the yen pace and the metals, they actually correlate. So when metals they are pushing higher, yen pace they are supposed to go down according to the market correlation. So what I see so far on the pound and on the pound yen, I just want to show you something here. What I see on the pound yen here. Right, so if this is a 1 2 3 like this, and we have got something like this, and it started to pull back with the 11 sequence. So what I see on the pound pace, it seems it always showing me like, of course, let me just show you the clean color first here, and just try to take the green color. We have something like this here, and then also let me just try to take the green color so that you can understand something. It does this here, and then let me just take the red one. This is the correction that we have here, and then it started to pull all the way to this point, meaning to say this was a W, this was X, this was Y. There's two alternatives on the pound yen. What we should have to do, because of Y, what I see on the pound yen, we have got 1 here, and this is a 2 and a 3 here and a 4 here and a 5 here. So meaning to say our orthodox law is here. So for the current, there's nothing also much to do on the pound pace. We should have to be able to identify the structure that is going to happen here, because of on the pound yen, it can even continue to go all the way to the downside. Once it started to give us a pullback here, we should have to go take it to the up all the way to the downside, pullback all the way to the downside, pullbacks all the way to the downside. It can even go downside by 11 sequence, which is fine. So anyway, let's run through to the euro pace. Let's just go to right, euro yen. the euro yen UJ. On the UJ, where I'm expecting it, like this, of course, I'm expecting this one to push all the way to the upside. So it can be that much possible for this one to push all the way, but what we should have to wait, because of also the structure of this pair is not much clear. But what you should have to do, we should have to confirm by using our strategy. But on our side, we have two strategies that we can use. I don't know, it's already on the blue box magic, so we can even take by where we are now all the way to the wave 5, or it's either we can also wait until we can confirm by divergence. The reason why I should have to wait, and let me just try to squeeze a bit something here. Right, so okay, right, so on this pair, I think it can be your trade for the next week. But what you should have to wait for is we should have to apply patient, because of why it's on the blue box magic. From the blue box magic, I am just expecting it also to push all the sorry, I don't need the arrow, I just need my annotation 2. Let me just take my annotation 2. I'm just expecting from this reversal, from this blue box magic. Yes, of course there's a possibility that it can come. So if you take the trade on the blue box magic, what you always need to do, you should have to put your stop loss between above the 0.1618, so maybe 30 pips or 20 pips above, and then so if you take it here, you can just go all the way to the upside, which is fine. Right, so let's go through Euro Chief. On the Euro Chief, I'm expecting this one to come back to the blue box magic, but it seems it can also even go all the way, because of why it seems it started to play the diagonal there. So if this is a diagonal, what is meaning to say we can have a wave 1 diagonal. If you have a wave 1 diagonal, what we can expect on the wave 1 diagonal, 1 2 3 4 5, so the correction that is going to happen here. So we have got 1 here. Let me just try to show you in a different color. We have got 1 and 2 and 3 here, and we are going to have a 5 here. After 5, we should have to wait for the correction before we go all the way to the upside. Right, that's how we can focus on the Euro Chief. Euro US dollar. On the Euro US dollar, right, on the Euro US dollar, it's not that much clear for continuation to the upside. But what you should have to do, let me just try to take everything out here. Right, on the Euro US dollar, what I'm expecting on the Euro US dollar, of course it can be something like this here, and does this here, and it can even push all the way here. This is going to have and drop all to that before we push here. So meaning to say, where we are now, we are still expecting it a wave 4. So wave 4, so we are on the wave 4. On the Euro US dollar, we are on the wave 4. we are expecting a 5. So what we should have to be able to track, there, but also there's a possibility that it can started to come and correct. If it come and correct here, and everything confirms, the divergence confirming here, this is going to be having a 1 and going to 2, and we're going to have a 3, and we're going to have a 4, and we're going to have a 5, to be 3 and a 4 and a 5. So that's how we should have to tracking it. So you are going to take it like as per strategy, but on our side, we also have a very special indicators, and also, like I ever show you on the blue box magic, it's also one of our best entries, and also we can also confirming our trades by using divergence, which is fine. So let me just go through to the Euro Aus, Pound Aus. On the Pound Aus, the structure is also, of course, I have 1 2 3 here. I'm also even expecting this one to push. It can even does this and push like this and even go all the way to the downside before it resuming higher. So what we should have to do, what we should have to be wait for, let's wait for this correction to be happened. Whatever that kind of the correction that is going to happen here, we should be able to be identifying it and take a good trade. So as a short-term trades, like if you want to be a short-term trader or a scalpers, what you should have to do, like if you're a scalpers or if you're a short-term trader, by using our strategy is also much clearer. But me, I'm a swing trader. I don't like to trade the short moves because of I don't like it. But it can be does this, if it does this for you, if you're a short-term trader and you're understanding whatever the kind of the correction that is going to be here, it can be a zigzag, it's going to be an expanding flat, which is fine. So when it pushes like this one, it can even able to be take this one trade. When it you can even cut, this is 2 hours, so when you go to 30 minutes, you can take even to previous higher, and it can even come down like this. But on my side, I don't like this. I always trade and impulse moves, and I don't try to trade the corrections. All right, so the only way that you can trade corrections, you can trade corrections by using Fibonacci retracements, by taking trades in the blue box magics, and you always be able to have to put a break even until you have a complete cycle. A complete cycle, we are talking, when you're talking about the complete cycle, we are talking about a Z correction, which is the last correction. So until you take it to the Z, and after that thing, you should have to take a 10 lot all the way to the right direction. So all right, so let's go to the Euro GBP. So Euro GBP is a quoted pair. It's not actually a correlation of a pound pairs. It's a quoted pair of the pound pairs. So let's just go see the structure on the pound. This is one of my best trade last week. I just want to show you the reason why I'm saying that. Let me just show you when it comes to the Euro GBP. Euro GBP, I exited it this week, but I take it was a previous week back. By using our strategy, it's always be amazing. Let me just show you something that happens on the Euro GBP. Euro GBP, it was clear, and I've been able to take 900 and something pips, which was amazing for. All right, so let's I'm just try to check Euro GBP, US dollar Euro GBP. Just check Euro GBP. Right, here we go. No, it does not want to load, but which is fine. Okay, so on the Euro GBP, you can even see the structure of the Euro GBP. The Euro GBP, the structure, it was clear for me. So what I did on the Euro GBP last week, everything was confirming. I was expecting this one to push to the downside here. It actually really pushed amazing to come to finish the B. After pushing the B, it moves. I started to focus on the Euro GBP. I think when it was this, and it was this, and it does this and does this, and it comes back like on this point. I take my trade. I think it was almost here, and it was confirming when it was here to call. So it did not go all the way, but it's actually. Let me just try to remove everything. So let me just using a different color. So Euro GBP, it confirms when it was here, and it pushes almost like this point, and it started to reverse all to the downside, which is fine, no problem. I managed to take it all to this point. It did not go all the way to the upside, but which is fine. So for the next session, what I'm expecting on the Euro GBP, since it's a quoted pair of the pound pairs, so it's not a vice versa. Actually, we're calling it a quoted pair. All right, so let me just take this one out and take this one out. Right, so on the Euro GBP, let me just go to the Euro GBP. On the Euro GBP, what we should have to do for the next week, right, what I see on the if it's possible for this one. This one did not go all the way to the blue box magic, but the way it reverses on the 0.1,618, but which is also even fine to take it to. It also even confirm for us to go all the way to the downside. So let's just go back and try to. This is going to be a 1, 2, 3, as this before, and this is going to be a 5. It's going to be a 5, so we are going to have a 1, a 2, and a 3, and a 4, and a 5. So after this, we have to be able to wait for the correction before we take all the way to the downside. But the other alternatives on the pound, on the euro GBP, because of why it did not finish the move to the downside, so it can be like this. Let me just show you something here. It can be something like this one. It can be something. Let me just try to it can be something like this, to take the blue color, because it did not go all the way to, so I'm still expecting it to go all the way to the blue box magic. So this is meaning to say it's going to be like this. Sorry guys, sorry. All right, just as this here, and be careful, it can push. Previous correction, or even a previous call to come and touch the. So if it does this, meaning to say we are going to have a W here and an X here and a Y here. So this is how we can focus on this pair. So we are not always need to be stuck stick on the one alternatives. We all should have to stick on this, at least on the two alternatives, and then on that two alternatives, one should have to be confirming before we take the trades. Right, so this is how is it clear for me. We need to say this just be this: A, B, C. On the higher time frame, W, X, Y. Just is like this. All right. So EuroCAD, on the EuroCAD, just take the. I started to focus. I take my trade when EuroCAD was here, and then I exit my trade when it was coming to this point, because of why it was telling me the cycle it was ended there, but which is fine. So let me just take this one. We should have to focus here. Whereas we are seeing we've got 1, 2, 3 here, and it does this here. So I mean to say we have this something like this here. So let me just try to do all right, which is even fine. So we are also developing an X here, which is something like this here. Does this here, pull back like this here. We need to see. Okay, so there's two alternatives here. It can even possibly to come this point before it goes all the way, but I don't think it can do that. What I'm just seeing here, since it's a correction, it seems like this. I decided to even correct. Go to so meaning to say we are going to have a W, we are going to have an X, Y. So on this Y, it can also even be, since we have got something like this one here, it can even start to come like this, and it does this, which is fine. Meaning to say we are going to have, let me just try to do using a different color. Meaning to say we are going just to have this one as a X, and we have this one, 1, 2. Sorry, let me just, I need to use the blue color. We are going to have this 1, 2, 3 here, 1, 2, 3 here. We need to say we have W and an X and a Y before we go all the way. Sorry, let me just take this one before we track into all the way to the downside. So that's how we can focus in here. Meaning to say all this move that it comes down here like this, all this move that comes down, if this is a W and this is X, and we are coming for the Y. Sorry. We just try to, we are coming for the Y, so which is fine like that way. So you can even see the way that I've been focusing since I started with the Bitcoin. It's going to play exactly the way, but because of what you don't have a strategy how to take the trades, you cannot even get even 10 pips or even 50 pips or even 5 pips. You are not even going to get it. But guess what, I think maybe for the next week you are going to have something that is much better. All right, so let's go through. Let me just continue with my analysis on the pairs. The reason why I need to show you something that when you are using Elliott wave, you always take the trade by confidence, 100% confidence, right? So this is Euro NZD on a Euro NZD. Sorry guys. So NZD, the first trade that I take on the NZ Euro NZD, I take the trade because it was confirming. I take this trade, I think, to this point. I exit my trade when it was here, and then I leave it because now I see we are on the correction now. So let me just try to identify this correction. What the kind of the correction that we are getting here? It's a. So it seems we have 1 2 3, which is like this, which is A B C, and then it seems like we are coming down like this one. So meaning to say our one was here. So let me just try to see something here. Yes, of course, this was our 1, and this is our 2 and a 3 and a 4 and a 5, meaning to say we have got W here and X here. Sorry, actually ABC, not a WXY. A here and a B and a C. So far I'm not yet taking the trade of the Euro NZD because of why it can still showing me there's a two main alternatives that it can happens here. It can does this here. It can even does this here and push like this and come down like this one. And then to say this can be an expanding flat before we resume it to all the way to the upside. So but which is fine, we should have to be able to take the way that is going to confirm for us. So that's all. So NZDN, and we are just gonna go to the NZD pairs. NZD pairs. Okay, this is actually complete. You cannot be able to see this, but which is none of your business. Let's try to focus on south side. So what I see on the NZD card last week when I was taking this trade, it was a 1 2 3 4 5 to this point, and then I see, oh okay, because of the structure of the NZDN was clear according to the yen pairs. It does this here, which was at least it pushes like this here. So what I'm just expecting this one, sorry, what I'm just expecting on this point, it can come back this and this, meaning to say we are going to have a W X Y before we come down here. So what you should have to do, you should have to be able to tracking what kind of the correction that is going to happen here. That's what the most very important thing. So let me just try to mark it by using the blue one. It can correct here. It does this. It should have to push higher again. We need to say this is going to be WXY before we are even expecting this one to come all the way to the downside, which is fine like that way. So let's go through to the NZD card. NZD card, this was one of the best correction as well. We take this trade on our side. It was also confirming when it was here. I just want to show you something there. It was confirming when it was here. There was a 5-wave move here. It comes with the 1 here, and it goes with the 3 here. So we are expecting this one to be does this, and we go to the 5 here. We need to say 1 2 and a 3 and a 4 5. So since we have been taking this one, what you should have to do, I should have to put a break even on my side. I put a break even because there's a possibility that this one, it can be a wave 4 and so let me just try to show you something here so that I'm not going to be clear at this point. I said I'm expecting this one to be a 2 and this one to be a 3, and I'm expecting a 4 here and then a 5 here, but there's a possibility that this one, 3, it can be here, 4 it can be here, and 5 it can be here, which is fine. So I'm going to put a break even here, which is fine. If it comes and take here, it's just going to take my profits. It's going to just to take my profits here and even come all the way to the downside. So on the NZD card, I was saying, like, guys, what you should have to do on the NZD card, please just tracking it, because there's a possibility that it can give us a wave 5 extended. If it gives us a wave 5 extended, it's going to be a very clear, nice structure. It does this here to give us a 5 to come and take, but you should have to wait for the impulse to the downside, correction, and take it to the, at least to target to the previous highs. Yeah, we are targeting it. So we're not targeting here because of it's a support or it's a resistance. It's just actually when we are targeting this one, we are targeting this one as a structural levels. So there's something that we call a structural levels, not a support and resistance. So according to the web, so what we should have to tracking, if it does play like the way that I'm focusing here, what we should have, if you take a trade here, like we should always need to be able to identify the wave 5, sorry, the impulse of the wave 5. So let me just try to squeezing it a bit so that you can see, so for those that are used to trade to trade support and resistance, or what I use on myself, I'm the one of the I'm the one of those guys, because of why I used to doing it, but I was not making money. That's why the reason why I leaving it. Right, so what we are expecting so far on the NZD card, so we are expecting something like this. Let me just show you something here. Well, of course we have got 5 wave over here, so we are expecting this one to push like this one, so we should have to wait for and at least to come down there. So there's a possibility it can even go all the way to the upside down after we confirm this one. So we should have to be able to trade. So if it gives you an entry here, we should have to take it all the way. So the supply and demand trader, what they are going to do on this chart, I just want to show you something that most of the guys that they are trading supply and demand, what that is going to do, and the reason why is always taking out, because of why you are just apply the strategy that are not exist. You are doing a gambling. So if you are doing a gambling, you should always to be a loser, because of why the forex market is not part of the gambling. It's part of learning it, and it's actually, we are on our side, the way that I'm learning is it's actually a business. So if you're trading a business, if you're trading forex market, you are like just a businessman. So a businessman is, of course, you should have to know that losses are there, but you always should have to be winning so that you can continue to run your business. If you are a loser, how you can be able to continue with your business? So if you're a forex trader, you are just like a businessman. All right, so what most of the traders that they do here, supply and demand, support and resistance, and the break and retest traders, they're going to put a trend line like this. And this one is going to push here, and what is going to happen, they are going to wait for this to come and try to trade here. But guess what, if it come and doing this, it just because it's going to do this on the maybe above the trend line, and let me just try to explain something clearly for you. I'm saying at this point, I'm expecting this one to go like this. And some of the traders, and when I was trading supply and demand, the double top, double bottoms, double tops and double bottoms is not something that it exists on the forex market. It's part also of the gambling. So you are going to do this. You are going to have, okay, this is my zone and this is my double top. So after this double top, I'm expecting this one. So what is going to happen here? Let me just show you something that is going to happen, and the reason why it's always taking out. I need to explain this one before it takes you out, so that you can even see. So this is going to be a 1, and it comes, sorry, let me just try to do it cleanly, and it's going to come down like this, and it started to do this. So you are going to think maybe this one is a break and retest. So what you're just going to do is just going to sell, but guess what, it's not going to go all the way. So it can maybe say they're going to give you 30 pips or 10 pips or 20 pips, because of, or 30 pips, for example, it's going to give you 30 pips, and that's how it's going to reverse it, because of why it does not apply like that. We're meaning to say this cycle is like this. This is going to be A, B, C. After C wave, we all continue all the way to the upside. So that's how market moves. So if I can tell you something that is most very important things to trade support and resistance, to trade Nasdaq strategy, to trade indicators, to trade robots, to track harmonic patterns by using not by, because there's two ways of trading harmonic patterns. We can trade harmonic patterns by using the indicators, but which is not working by using it. It only works if you can using it by how it should have to apply, like the way, right? So if you are trading supply and demand, support and resistance, all those kind, it's actually, we are calling it on the Elliott wave, we are calling it a reversal of engineering, meaning to say what you are learning by supply and demand or head and shoulder. Yes, of course, sometimes it can happen, but when it happens, it does not mean the way that we learn it. It only meaning to say you are just get luck on it. Next time we can only get one trade by trading supply and demand, but for the next five, you're not going to be take it right, because of why? It's a reversal of engineering. The way that it used on the market, it's actually using it. Sometimes there's, of course, brokers, they play like this, and you can always be that confidence of saying it exists, but it's actually does not exist. It's always checking you out, and you can always meet a lot of losses if you're taking 10 trades by using supply and demands, like any kind of strategy, by not using Elliott wave. The truth is you can only win 3 trades by out of 10, but what about 7? You can also even win maybe 4 trades. What about the next ones? And you can also not even be able to identify where you can put the surplus and where is your next target. So that's the reason why I leave all kind of the nonsense strategy, because of why I was not even know where can I exit and where I'm for the next move, where I'm going. So I should have to be always to be ahead by you. So if I'm using Elliott wave, I'm always being ahead, because of why it always telling me the next directions I can focus by on myself. I'm always be ahead, right? So I was just trying to show you something by by trading supply and demand, and using those kind of the break retest, and they take it this one as a channel. They take this one as a channel, and they say this is a channel, and this is going to be a break here and the retest, and they're expecting all the way to the downside. But guess what? It's not going to do like that way. It's going to reverse, because of why the structure, it does not telling like that way. So it's either if it goes to the wood. Before we go to the downside, let me just show you something. Yes, we are going to have a 1, and we are going to have a 2, and we're going to have a 3, and we're going to have a 4, and we're going to have a 5. Before we continue to the upside, what we should have to do, we should have to have it like something like this. An entry, we take it to the, or if it does not go all the way to the upside, meaning to say it can also, let me just try to show you by using a 4 hour. Let me just try to show you by using 4 hour, so that it can be clear for you, to show you what I'm trying to explain to you guys. Right, so on the 4 hour, let's just give it a time to correct. So on the 4 hour, right, so on the 4 hour, all right, sorry guys, right, I told you we have got something like this. So you can only trade this one, like maybe like you should have to use it, how to trade WXY like a pro, right? So let's try to apply it here, but I'm not saying that's what is going to happen, that's what exactly that is going to happen, but I'm just going to show you the alternatives, the second alternatives that it can possibly happen. We have say this, it can does this here, and it can give us an entry here, and we are targeting this one to does this here, Y5. So before it even pushes, it can even also like something like this, meaning to say it can also even push like this, and if it pushes like this, it can does this, meaning to say this is going to be our this is going to be, let me just try to take the A, B, C, W, X, Y. So possibility that it even before we're resuming higher like this impulse, it can also even not going for not from that point, or after Y we can also have like this, and it come down like this, meaning to say we X and a Z. After Z, that's how we take 10 loss. Yeah, if I have $100, for example, I have $100 on my account, I can take it. I can even risk it with the $70, which is fine because I know the structure is complete. Right, so let's run for the rest of the pair that is left. NZD This is one of the trades that we have been taking by on the blue box magic. Can I show you from my Slack channel? But in terms of the time, I don't have that much time, but let me just try to check for you on my Slack. Alright, sorry guys, I just want to show you something here. Hi, is it amazing by the tracking trades by on the blue box magic? Because of this trade I taking on the blue box magic, I'm still in on it because of why there's a two alternatives. So what I should have to do is to put the break even. Right, so let's go through to the NZD. Let me just give it time to pop up. Alright, so NZD. Right, clear now. It's actually went to the blue box magic. After it pushes to the blue box magic, I take my trades here, and if we're taking the trade by taking trades on the blue box magic, it's not a 10 lot, it's actually maximum 5%. Sorry, we should have to risk with the 5% of your account. So I risk with the 5% of my account, and then let me just check my annotation tool here before when we go to the NZD card. It actually went down here. I paused before it comes to the blue box magic, and it started to come and do this here, and it pushes all. So we are almost here now, and we can expecting this one to go all the way to the upside. So what I should have to do so far, because of I'm already I should have to do put at the break even, but there's a possibility that it can go all the way to the upside, or it's either because of it does this. So let's just go to the real chart. I was need to show you where we have been focusing, and why is it important by why is it amazing by using our strategy. So let's go through to the real chart. On the real chart on the NZD card, this is the real chart on the NZD card. This is what I'm expecting so far. So what I have to do on the NZD card, if it reverses for the current levels, so it's not about these lies. What is the most important thing is to understand the structure and take the trade that they're confirming. Right, so I take my trades here. I just want to show you something. Sometimes I am always happy by using this strategy because of why it's always never be miss. So it does this. Alright, so I'm taking my trades here, and we are almost here. So what I should have to do here, because of why there's a possibility that it cannot even come does this and go back to this point. So I should have to put my break even where here, or even to exit. For the NZD card, I can even prefer to exit because of why it can even come with this like sharp here, giving us an entry when before it pushes like this. We need to say we had something like 1 2 3, and we're going to have 1 2 sorry, and we're going to have an 1 2 3, which is going W and X before we coming for the Y. And also after this Y, that's how we should have to be able to resume where is our next direction. All right, so let us run through to the NZD USD, NZD US dollar. Alright, so NZD US dollar is actually push like this. Of course, this is gonna does this here. I'm just expecting, let me just clear everything here. For the current level, I'm just expecting also something like this before it does this here and push to the upside, which is fine like that way. Let's go to the Aus US dollar. On the Aus US dollar, I was expecting to go all the way to the upside, but it seems that the structure is actually changing. What you should have to wait for is it does this 1 2 3 here. It can does this 1 2 3 back, come there like this and go all the way, not go actually not even go all the way. 1 2 3 1 2 3, and then meaning to say even come down there before it pushes like that way, which is fine. Oscard it's actually does this here. 1 2, sorry, it's not actually like that way, it's actually like this way. So let's just do this 1 2 3, and we are expecting another 1 2 3 dash and come back like this way, and it can even push all the way. That's how we can expecting. And so the Oscard is it's a bit confusing, but she's fine. What we should have to do now, let's just wait for this correction to be end, and we can also have it like we can have something like this. It can even does this. So let me just show you the alternatives on the Oscard does this here, break the higher and come down like this. It can even start to do this, and it can even start to does this here, and it does this and even come like this way before it pushes to the upside. We need to say we are going to have a X, WX, and we are going to have a Y and X and a Z, but which is fine. What we should have to do, we should have to be able to identify one of the kind of the correction that is going to coming here, and they started to take it, trading it at least, because to my side I don't trade less than 50 pips. I always prefer more than 50 pips. So the way that is going to play for us is not going to be, so we are not going to be surprised. Well, you should have to take the way that is going to be confirmed, all right, which is fine. So Oscard, JPY, JPY, I was expecting it to push for the current level, but it not does, and it also not even confirming. That's why it's very important by taking the trade that it confirms. So the way when it was pushing, I was expecting at least to push a bit higher, but it not does do that because of why, and it also on through our divergence it not confirming. So but which is fine. What we should have to do now, let me just show you something here. Does this here, yeah, I'm expecting this one to does this here, point here back like this and come down like this one, and it should have to be, meaning to say this is here should have to be A B, so it should have to be like, it can be an expanding flat or a regular flat, and before we are expecting at least this one to does this and it pushes higher, but which is fine. And so that's how we should have to do, because of why what I see on the, we have got the 1 2 3 and we've got 1 2 3 here, and there's a 1 2 3 here. So what I see, let me just try to, so no, anyway, let me just not go back like here, let me just explain here, because of that's the most important thing is where we are and where we are going. That's the most important thing. So we are expecting this one, it can be an expanding flat like this, or it can even also even be an, it can also even a regular flat, meaning to say it can even start to push all the way like this one. It can also be a zigzag. If it be a zigzag, it can does this be a zigzag. Another alternatives, it can also does this and it come back like this, and it does this, and meaning to say it's going to be a running flat or regular flat, which is fine like that way. So what we should have to do, that's why you should have to use divergence before we go anywhere. We should have to, divergence should supposed to confirm. So the middle correction here, so because of this is 4 hours, you can also even take the trade that is coming down here. You can also even take the trade that is coming down here. If it confirms if it confirms as per your strategy. All right, so let's just run through the chief yen. Chief yen, I was expecting this one to go all the way, but it did not give us any entry until it comes back like that way. So let me just try to see what's going on the chief yen. All right, so on the chief yen, we have something like this, and they have pulled back like this. I was expecting it to go all the way, but what is most important things is where we are. So where we are now, I'm just seeing this. This is 1, we're going 2, 3, and a 4 here. So any correction that is going to happen here, this is clear, guys. You should always need to take it all the way to the upside, because of why the reason why I'm expecting to the upside, meaning to say this one is going to be a W, and it's just going to be an X, and it's going to be in a Y, and this leg, it looks correction. So meaning to say this, the next leg that is going to happen here, it's not going to be that much corrective. It's going to be actually impulsive. So any does this, yeah, and you should have to give you an entry like this to this point, and you should have to go targeting all the way. That's how you should have to do, like, that's how you should have to apply on it, which is fine, meaning to say we are going to have a W, X, and a Y here before we coming down, which is fine like that way. So let's go through to the let's go to the rest of the pairs. I should have to run this webinar. I almost prefer 1 hour 30 minutes or 1 hour 20 minutes. So we are almost on the 1 hour 20 minutes. So let me just try to rush a bit. Right, so USD ZAR. You know, sometimes I told you guys I can show you every single pair on our channel, and you can see it exactly play the way, and after it plays exactly the way that we're focusing, and then we also even take those trades, because of why we have a strategy by taking all those trades. Right, so let's go through to the US dollar ZAR. Actually, let's see. USD JPY. I should have to finish this one. I should have to finish this webinar. So this is US dollar JPY. So on the US dollar JPY, I'm just expecting the same. Two alternatives on the US dollar JPY. It pushes out like that, which is fine like that way. So we are not be able to be don't be involved for this, but this is just an arrow. It's not yet even confirming, so nothing to do with this arrow. This arrow just be there, but not be confused. It's not supposed to be confusing you. All right, so USD card, which is our last trade to do, I should have to stop this one now. Right, so let me just try to does this. Let me clear. Sorry. Right, so on this one, I'm expecting on the USD card, it's also much clear. It's also clear, like all pairs, they're always clear as long as you understand what you are doing, which is fine. So I was expecting this one to push on the wave 5 here. Of course, we're on the wave 5, so now we are on the wave 2. So it's two alternatives here. This is not, we can disqualify this one to be a wave 2, at least to be an AB. So ABC, which is fine. So let's try to do this. So I told you I should have to disqualify this one. So let's try to focus according to the structure that we are. So Euro card is clear. Euro card is I have a 1 2 3 here. Just try to do. Just try to do this. Okay, so on the Euro card, 1 2, we are expecting this one. come down this way. It can even go all the way to the upside, or else either it can give us like something like this, and it started to give us something like this. Maybe it won't be an expanding flat, so meaning to say we are going to have we're going to go deeper. So that's why you should have to confirm by using those two specific indicators for us. Those indicators, there's always a way that it should have to work. As many traders, let me just bring it on the screen here so that you can show, I can show you something. These two things, there's so many traders that they're taking these ones, but guess what, they are not applying it the way that it should have to work. So let me just show the first one alternative that people they think about, that's the way that you should have to do. But many people, they said overbought, oversold. Other traders, they said over 20, over above 20, but that's not the way that it should have to apply. It always should have to apply the way that it's supposed to be applied. So I'm not going to show you how this applying it, but this is what we use for us to confirm our trades. Before we take our trades, we should have to use these ones, but it does not apply over both, over sold, over 20, or whatever, 80, 1, 2, 3, 100. That's not correct. There's always a way that it should have to weigh. And these two things, it's a last thing to confirm by using this. The first thing that you should have to understand is the structures. So if you are not understanding the structures, you are still a challenge for you. So many traders, they just only apply these two indicators. So by applying these two indicators, by not including Fibonacci theory, Elliott wave theory, you're not still a good trader. All right, so on our side, we should have to do this. Does this here? Possibly it can come back like this. It can even start to do this and does this and pull back, meaning to say this is going to be A, B, and a C. So that's how we should have to work with before even when it comes to the. So there's also the possibility that it can does this and it can does this, meaning to say after this we can divide it with, it can give us a double and a Y before it resuming to the downside. So for the next sessions on the USD card, US dollar JPY, USD CHF, I'm expecting it the corrections that is going to the combinations of the corrections, so which is fine. It does not give us a combinations, which is fine. So I think that's all for today, guys. We can see each other next week. Bye.